My followers from my community. Those people believe in me and they follow me. They're Muslims. They fasted in Ramadan. They made salat. They said La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. They're Muslims. They wore thobes. And then it will be said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, innaka la ta'lam ma ahdathu ba'dak. You don't know what they created and introduced after you, Ya Muhammad. You don't know how these people introduced something in their religion. That when people embraced Islam, they embraced what was created thinking it was the religion. And they worshiped Allah Ta'ala based upon that deviance. That wasn't legislated. Children were born in Islam and raised in Islam, seeing their parents doing certain things on the 27th of Ramadan and Rajab and all of this. They think it's religion. And they embraced it. And they were worshiping Allah Ta'ala without any benefit, making shirk with Allah Ta'ala. Wallahi, Shaitani loves that more than anything else. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, upon hearing that statement, he says to those people, to those malaika, to those people who are going to be thrown away, get them away from me. Get them away from me. They're not from my sunnah. They didn't drink from the fountain of the sunnah in the dunya. They didn't come to know about it. They didn't drink from the fountain of the sunnah in the dunya. They won't drink of the fountain of the sunnah in the hereafter. That's one of their punishments. You can't partake in this hold. No water for you, no drink for you. Back up. You innovated in the religion. You participated in deviance in the religion. Those are some of the people who are not from Al-Sunnah. As for the people who are from the people of the Sunnah, clearly, as Sheikh Abu Usaamah al-Kabir Salim al-Hilali spoke about the ghuraba and the descriptions that he gave about the ghuraba, that number one, they are the people who yatamassakuna bil-Islam. Number two, in that hadith they say qawmun salihun qalil. They are salihun, and he went on to explain that the salihun were who? Who were the salihun? But what was the point he proved from that? He was given the characteristics of the ghuraba. The first one he said, yatamassakuna bil-Islam. They hold on to Islam. And then he said, number two, they are salihun, and he took from that a very important point. What did he say? What, akhi? That's part of it. You mean to tell me no, not a single laysa fikum rajulun rashid, not one person remember that? He said that the salih, this is proof that they do what? Ya'maluna bil-Islam. They do the actions. They work by that which they have. He said you can't be salih without the actions. And he went through all of those ayat and ahadith to prove to that. Allah says over and over in the Quran, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. So many examples. How in order to be salih, it has to be coupled with actions. You can't call a man salih who's not working. You guys forgot that, huh? Maybe that's one of the reasons why we inshallah have iman without that many actions. That was an important point, wallahi. So all of that, you go back to what you wrote down in that class, and it's not something that we have to repeat again. He hit the nail on the head, and I thought that was a very beneficial class because it was minhaji. It wasn't a class of entertainment. It was a class of minhaj that if you get the tape, if you didn't write it down, get the tape and listen to it again, because what he pulled out, it was important. So now we're going to entertain, inshallah, the questions for a few minutes. As far as the 73 sects, ikhwan, you got to pay attention to this so we don't be of the people who put people up to that thing, and he's a Muslim. He falls into that crime or that sin, and he dies in al-Islam, on al-Islam, with the kalimatul tawheed in his heart, no matter what he did or what he didn't do. If he dies with the tawheed in his heart, the way you understand those texts of the wa'id is that the person who does that is tahta مشيئة الله تعالى. إن شاء عذبه وإن شاء عفى عنه وغفر له. تحت مشيئة ولا يشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين. Those people from this ummah who fall into those mistakes, if Allah chooses, Allah will forgive them, overlook what they did, change their bad deeds into good deeds. If He chooses, He'll overlook them, and if He chooses, He'll punish them if he dies in al-Islam. So those groups from this ummah, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَسَتَفْتَرِقُ أُمَّتِي, and my ummah is going to break up into 73 sects, he said they were from his ummah. All of them will be in the hellfire except one of them. All of them will be rejected, and all of the people who are upon those other 72 sects, if Allah chooses, they'll go to the hellfire. If He chooses, He'll forgive them and they won't go to the hellfire. And if they go to the hellfire, they're not going to stay in the fire forever. They're going to be from the Jahannamiyun. Those people go get burnt to get purified to go into the paradise. But we don't understand from this hadith, as many of the questions, how we understood people thought that they were kuffar. When Ali radiyallahu anhu was asked about the Shiite or the Khawarij specifically, who were fighting against him, who were making takfir against him and the other companions, who clearly rejected the Quran and the Hadith. How are you going to say Ali and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that he was in paradise and he married him to his daughter and he raised him in the house of prophecy? How are you going to fight these other people? Clearly the haqq was with Ali. Anyway, the people came to Ali radiyallahu anhu to ask him, those Khawarij, you see those people who are fighting you right now and revolting against you? Clearly they're not listening to the Quran. Clearly they're not following the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by revolting and making takfir like this. They're kuffar, aren't they? Aren't they non-Muslims? Aren't they outside of the fold of Islam? Ali radiyallahu anhu responded with adl. Even though they're his enemies, the enmity between him and them didn't cause him to say, yeah, they're kuffar. No, Ahl Sunnah are people who are just. He said, min al-kufri farru. They're trying to run away from disbelief. They're doing what they're doing because they're trying to run away from disbelief. They just have their shubahat and their shahwa. But those people, the reason why they're doing this is that they're trying to not fall into what is wrong, judging by other than what Allah Ta'ala revealed ila akhiri. And that brings us to another important point, and that is, anytime people try to run away from something of Ahl Sunnah, they always run into that which is worse. You try to run away from something and you leave the Sunnah, you run into that which is worse. Those people who say, no, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala la yatakallam, Allah Ta'ala la yastahi, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala la yanzil. These things can't be applied to Allah. They're not applicable. He's not shy, He doesn't speak, He doesn't come down, He doesn't have a foot, He doesn't have a hand, He doesn't have a shin. Why? Because if He had all of this, He's like a human being. He has a body. So they tried to run away from describing a body to Allah. And what did they fall into? They fall into making the ta'til of Allah's characteristics. If Allah doesn't do all of this and He's not like this in a way that's befitting His majesty, if He's not like that and you deny it, then what are you worshiping? Nothing. Zero. So you try to run away from this and you fall into that. The people want to judge by that which Allah revealed. That's beautiful. Everyone wants to do that. But we have to do it the way that the Prophet ﷺ explained to the people. So instead of holding on to that, they run away from that and they fall into making takfir of the Muslims. All of them. So they wind up giving dawah to the rabbits and to the bears in the forest by themselves, because ultimately they're going to make takfir of everyone, even themselves. Now you think if a man is going to make takfir of his mother because she doesn't wear hijab, that he's not going to make takfir of you? He's going to make takfir of you as soon as you don't make takfir of someone who he sees as a kafir. He sees Nasruddin al-Albani as a kafir. And if you don't see him as a kafir, you're a kafir. Why? Because whoever doesn't make the takfir of a kafir, then he's a kafir. I gotta make takfir. And you see, this is a bunch of rhetoric. So my advice to those brothers who reverted back to Islam and they're embracing this dawah,